And it wasn't until I was 31 that I finally did ask my mother and did hear the truth from her. But by that time, my father had died.
Extramarital affairs were one of the worst sins an actor could commit in the Golden Age. It was done in shame and secret, away from the public eye. But what happens when you leave a permanent trail? Here are 15 of the worst secret offspring of the Golden Age's forbidden years.
He does not. I don't think he likes me.
Number 15. Scott Eastwood. Golden Age actors almost always had topsy-turvy relationships. Elizabeth Taylor married 8 times, twice to the same man, and Charlie Chaplin had more wives than he could count. However, some actors chose to have various relationships without putting a ring on anyone's finger. One of them is Clint Eastwood. Over the course of his legendary career, Clint Eastwood had numerous casual and serious affairs with all kinds of women, even beyond the industry. He married twice and had 8 children, some of whom were born out of wedlock. However, the problem wasn't just about his forbidden passions, but the aftermath. Clint has never confirmed the exact number of his children, and he has only acknowledged half of the amount that has been made public. Worse, his biographer Patrick McGilligan once stated on camera that Clint even sired a child when he was still in high school. Born in 1986, Scott Eastwood was the product of Clint's affair with a flight attendant named Jacqueline Reeves that resulted in 2 children. But while you'd think his legendary father's influence played a role in his success, the truth couldn't be any different. Scott Eastwood and his sister lived with their mother in Hawaii and, according to multiple outlets, were fatherless for a while. Clint Eastwood declined to be on his children's birth certificates, leaving them legally fatherless. Despite their rocky start, Scott and Clint eventually mended their relationship, with Scott moving in with his father during high school. However, their bond remained challenging, as Scott described Clint as a strict disciplinarian who refused to give him a single dime. Yes, you heard that right. Clint refused to help out his son with any expenses despite having a net worth of $350 million. That said, things seem to have worked out. Scott Eastwood fought tooth and nail to make his own name in the industry, proving he's a chip off the old block, though fingers crossed he avoids repeating his father's romantic escapades. The father-son duo has collaborated on several films, with Scott making his acting debut in Clint's 2006 film Flags of Our Fathers in a minor role. He later appeared in Invictus and Gran Torino, both directed by Clint. Don't take this to mean Scott's guided by nepotism, though. He's made a name for himself with several high-profile projects, including as Lieutenant G.Q. Edwards in a DC Comics blockbuster, starring alongside Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Shailene Woodley in the biographical drama Snowden, and winning everyone's heart as a special agent in the 2017 action hit The Fate of the Furious. But hey, if you think Scott Eastwood's coming-of-age story is crazy, wait until you hear how one of Hollywood's most iconic faces went toe-to-toe with the law just to deny the paternity of his own daughter. Number 14. Carol Ann. Charlie Chaplin, often remembered for his iconic tramp character, dominated the silent film era of Hollywood. But in 1943, he became embroiled in an adults-only legal scandal when his alleged former paramour slapped him with a paternity suit, a case that shocked the core of the entire nation. The story began in 1941 during Chaplin's tumultuous marriage to his third wife, an actress, Paula Goddard. He met Joan Barry, a young promising actress he cast for a potential film called Shadows and Substance. The pair quickly became lovers and had a couple of frisky nights, one of which allegedly led to the birth of a girl called Carol Ann. However, Chaplin adamantly denied paternity, even going to court twice, first to contest accusations of violating the Mann Act and then to challenge claims that Carol Ann was his daughter. Despite several blood tests conclusively proving Chaplin was indeed not the father, the tests were inadmissible in California courts at the time due to outdated laws that did not recognize scientific evidence in paternity cases. This left the decision solely in the hands of the jury, a jury heavily influenced by societal pressures, Chaplin's tarnished reputation, and the public perception of his moral character. Curious about what they did? Well, they voted 11-1 in favor of Barry's claims and demanded Chaplin pay all due child support and legal fees. Though the scandal highlighted the sway of public sentiment over the evidence in high-profile cases, it wasn't the only one surrounding Chaplin's children. Remember his son, Michael J. Chaplin? He admired his father as an artist and visionary, but was intimidated, no, frightened, by the actor's volatile temper. The comedic genius reportedly had explosive outbursts behind closed doors, leaving Michael feeling overshadowed and struggling to carve out his own identity. He preferred the comfort of his mother, who encouraged him to read and find his own purpose in life. So again, if you need to remember how Hollywood heroes were flawed like any human, look no further than Charlie Chaplin. Behind the laughter of one of the industry's brightest stars was a man who struggled and made questionable choices. Number 13. Marilyn Monroe. Hollywood is a treasure trove of unanswered mysteries and decries buried in time. Who was responsible for the Black Dahlia murder? What's the reason behind Gene Spangler's mysterious disappearance? And are Hollywood studios really getting away with the countless scandals buried by figureheads? Among these enigmas, perhaps the most intriguing of all was this. Was Errol Flynn actually the father of Marilyn Monroe? Saying Errol Flynn was a Golden Age playboy is a massive understatement. The Australian-American actor, known for his romantic swashbuckler roles, had a reputation for his hard-drinking, smoking, and hedonistic personal life. However, the most famous of all his vices was a penchant for womanizing. Legends say he was so smooth in seducing women that the expression "in like Flynn" was coined to pay homage to the legendary actor. Would you blame the rumors, though? Errol Flynn was linked romantically with powerful women like Marlene Dietrich, Lupe Velez, and Dolores Del Rio, among many others. He was also a regular attendee of William Randolph Hearst's lavish affairs at Hearst Castle, though he was once asked to leave after becoming excessively intoxicated. But could he have bitten off more than he could chew? In 1943, Hollywood's scandal sheets lit up with headlines as 21-year-old Shirley Evans Hassau filed a paternity suit against the dashing movie star. She claimed Flynn was the father of her 3-year-old daughter Marilyn and demanded $1,750 a month in child support, $10,000 in attorney fees, $5,000 for hospital expenses, and $2,000 in court costs. Mighty sums that buttressed the high stakes of the case. Flynn, who was no stranger to controversy or the spotlight, denied being Marilyn's father, but nothing could have prepared us for the next twist. Documents revealing that Flynn had paid Hassau the sum of $2,000 only 2 weeks after her daughter's birth. Flynn insisted his actions were merely to avoid the negative publicity of a drawn-out court case. But it does make you wonder, if he was truly innocent, why was he so eager to hush his fling? Wouldn't he have been more resolute? The courts dismissed Hassau's suit against Flynn in 1951, bringing an end to nearly a decade of legal disputes. But one thing is for sure, Flynn's connection to Marilyn is more than meets the eye. Before we go into Hollywood's next hidden child, can you imagine growing up as an adopted child, only to find out later that your biological father is one of the most legendary figures in the entertainment world? It sounds too unbelievable to be true, doesn't it? Well, our next story proves that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. Number 12. Laurie Murray. Behind every iconic name in cinema lies a personal story that often surprises and inspires. Clint Eastwood's life is no exception. His personal life is just as legendary as his entire career, if not more. Remember when we told you he had 8 children? Well, Scott Eastwood and his sister weren't the only ones who grew up without a largely present father. In a story straight from a movie script, Laurie Murray was only introduced as the daughter of the legendary actor and filmmaker in 2018. And oh, she was 64. Not months, but years. What makes this story particularly heartwarming is Laurie's journey. Though whispers of her existence had persisted for years, Laurie Murray's was actually born from a secret affair. Her existence was first revealed by Eastwood biographer Patrick McGilligan, who said Laurie's mother had a serious relationship in Seattle with the star while he was engaged to his first wife, Maggie Johnson. Clint and Laurie's mother lost contact when the relationship ended, and on discovering she was pregnant, the woman, who is yet to be identified, chose to put the baby up for adoption. Laurie Murray discovered her true parentage a few decades ago after her curiosity about her biological parents led her to hire a professional investigator. The search uncovered paperwork in which her mother had named Clint Eastwood as her father. With remarkable courage, she reached out to the Academy Award-winning actor, who had no prior knowledge of her existence. Curious about his reaction?
Legend.
When he discovered she was his daughter and realized that she was this person from long before.
Surprisingly, there wasn't any tension or animosity between the duo. As a matter of fact, they developed a strong bond, sharing mutual passions for golf and the outdoors. A close friend even revealed that they often enjoyed family vacations together. You might want to keep your eyes and ears peeled for our next Hollywood child, though. Her story is so surreal that it would put Netflix's blockbuster series to shame. Number 11. Victoria Sellers. Okay, right off the bat, Victoria Sellers' existence was never disputed by her father, Peter Sellers. In fact, she was openly recognized as the only child from his tumultuous relationship with Britt Ekland. But hey, don't mistake this acknowledgement for a harmonious family dynamic, as the relationship was anything but smooth. Theirs was a toxic and turbulent bond born from a notoriously forbidden passion. Peter's highly publicized divorce from Ekland only fueled the drama, and his erratic personality created a strained and fractious connection with his daughter, leaving chaos in its wake. Born into the limelight as the daughter of the famous Hollywood couple, Victoria Sellers was thrust into the celebrity world, enjoying a status similar to that of today's Paris Hiltons and Nicole Richie's. But similar to her aforementioned names, Victoria quickly became known for her talent in attracting controversy. For more than 2 decades, Victoria Sellers embodied the epitome of Hollywood excess, living a hard-partying life with a knack for finding trouble that outshines even her famous parents. She was smoking, taking cocaine, and drinking all kinds of booze, traits that indeed got her into all sorts of trouble. Take, for instance, the never-ending dances with the law, which began in 1985 when she was accused of stealing 50,000 pounds from a New Jersey drug dealer. 3 years later, she was put on probation for her role in a cocaine ring before being fined for possession of marijuana in 1993. Think that was enough for a wake-up call? Well, it's safe to say that the lady didn't think so. Victoria was arrested in 1994 for stealing jewelry and sentenced to 13 days in jail with 3 years of probation. She found herself back in court only 10 months later after being arrested in West Hollywood for drug use. Her crime? Police discovered several grams of amphetamines in her purse, leading to an additional 120-day jail sentence. Thankfully, though, her life seems to be back on track. She has gained relative success in many endeavors like modeling, acting, and even reality television. She began filming The Eklands for Swedish television with her mother and half-brothers Nick and TJ in November 2013, and has also been involved in the fashion industry as a jewelry designer. Fingers crossed she stays on the straight and narrow path. Number 10. Nina Priscilla Brando. Decades after his death, Marlon Brando still remains one of the most celebrated actors ever to grace the silver screen. He featured in countless blockbusters during his 6-decade career and won a plethora of awards, including 2 Academy Awards, 3 British Academy Film Awards, a Cannes Film Festival Award, 2 Golden Globe Awards, and a Primetime Emmy Award. But the man is more than just a walking trophy cabinet. Historians credit Brando as one of the first actors to bring the Stanislavski system of acting and method acting to mainstream audiences. His only blemish, and a big one at that, was his tumultuous personal life. He had well-documented episodes of treating women poorly, including his large number of partners and children. Marlon Brando was married 3 times throughout his life but fathered nearly a dozen children. His first marriage was to actress Anna Kashfi in 1957, with whom he had a son, Christian Brando, in 1958 before divorcing in 1959. Brando then married Movida Castaneda in 1960, but she was the wife he never admitted having until he was under oath in a 1961 legal battle with Anna Kashfi. Though he never married after his 3rd spouse, Brando never stopped snooping in and beyond the industry to date and procreate. Matter of fact, he and his housekeeper, Maria Cristina Ruiz, had 3 children together, according to multiple accounts. Among them are Nina Priscilla Brando, born in 1989, Miles Jonathan Brando, born in 1992, and Timothy Gahan Brando, born in 1994. Wondering why you never knew? Well, that's because all 3 of the housekeeper's children were largely kept out of the spotlight. Neither Brando nor Maria Cristina Ruiz publicly disclosed his reasons, but I can't help thinking he did it to protect his public image, as having a passionate affair with his housekeeper might be seen as taboo. The second possibility is that he didn't feel proud of the forbidden passion. As someone who was already well known for his personal scandals, Brando may have felt he stooped below his own standards. But hey, we're only speculating, and it's not like he was successful in the clandestine department. Christina Ruiz filed a $100 million lawsuit against Marlon, claiming breach of contract. She alleged that Marlon stopped all support and maintenance to her, though he had kept paying child support. Think that was drama gold? You've seen nothing yet. Coming next is yet another Brando child, this time with even more controversy. Number 9. Lisa Brando. They say 3 things are certain in life: death, taxes, and the secrets we take to our graves. Death is often the final chapter, the curtain drop at a grand opera house. It indicates the closing of a life story, leaving behind silence and memories. But for Marlon Brando, death was not the end of his narrative, it was merely an intermission. When the great actor passed away, the spotlight shifted from his iconic roles to his tangled personal life, and with it came a shocking revelation. Another secret child hidden in the shadows of his, exuberant loins. Can you remember the Golden Age actress Cynthia Lynn? No? Well, she certainly wasn't as popular as Marlon Brando, but boy was she good in her own right. She gained fame for her portrayal of Helga, the beautiful secretary to Colonel Klink in the popular 1960s sitcom Hogan's Heroes. As far as personal life goes, the only documented romantic relationship she had was with her Hogan's Heroes co-star, Bob Crane. But here's the thing. After news of Brando's death, Cynthia Lynn's only daughter, Lisa Worm, tried to force her way into the Godfather actor's Hollywood home, claiming she was, in fact, his daughter. The story goes that Worm discovered Brando was her biological father just 6 years before his passing, a revelation her mother reluctantly shared. Lynn was married, but naively had an affair with Marlon Brando that reportedly resulted in her daughter's birth. Ready for the crazy twist? Despite knowing about her, Brando had reportedly never reached out, not even with a birthday card. Worm only desired to connect with her siblings and attend his funeral, emphasizing she had no interest in any financial inheritance. Speaking of which, did you know that Brando updated his will only 2 weeks before his death? Yep, he appointed former studio executive Mike Medavoy as an executor to ensure his children would benefit from his estate. It's funny to imagine what would have happened without a will. In any case, Lisa Worm, who now goes as Lisa Brando, is a mother of 6 and a grandmother. She is an illustrator, public figure, and social media expert. She also worked as a graphic designer, building and promoting websites.
Today we're going to learn how to color gemstones, or today we're going to color a daisy, or I don't know, wouldn't that be kind of cool?
Number 8. Marilyn Monroe's alleged child. The mere mention of Marilyn Monroe evokes visions of old Hollywood glamour and the age when actresses were more than just screen divas. These women had the entire world breathless, watching every step, breath, and move off-screen. However, Marilyn Monroe was in a league of her own. From her platinum locks to her captivating allure on screen, Marilyn was the quintessential symbol of bombshell blondes, and the industry couldn't get enough of her. Yet behind the polished facade lies a deeply human story, one that prompts a poignant question. Did Marilyn Monroe ever have children? While the answer may appear simple at first glance, there's actually a deeper, darker tale that unravels the complexities she struggled with. Pay close attention, guys. The very answer to this burning question sheds light on Marilyn's personal struggles, decisions, and the enduring mystique that continues to shape her legacy. Okay, so right off the bat, whispers and unverified claims have circulated over the years suggesting that Marilyn Monroe may have secretly given birth to a child and placed it for adoption. These speculations, often amplified by dubious sources and the enigmatic circumstances of her death, remain shrouded in uncertainty and are nearly impossible to substantiate. But is there any truth to it? Marilyn Monroe's personal letters and interviews highlight her profound longing for motherhood, a desire made even more poignant by the societal expectations of her time. The 1950s and 60s were amazing for Hollywood queens like Marilyn, but they imposed rigid standards. The image of stars was almost always prioritized over personal milestones like starting a family. Having a child or two might have posed a significant risk to Marilyn's career, so she was forced to keep her personal fulfillment and desires on the sidelines. Marilyn never gave birth to a child during her time as a star, but what about before fame found her? Yes, there are serious rumors that Miss Monroe became pregnant and gave birth to a child when she was still in foster care. Worse, one of her foster families was responsible for the situation. If true, Marilyn likely had little to say in the matter, with the decision to place the child for adoption made under immense pressure. Out there, somewhere, there may be an octogenarian woman with children and grandchildren, all unknowingly connected to Marilyn Monroe. One can only hope that this child was adopted by a loving family who gave her a life full of care and stability. Perhaps, in some way, this brought healing to the legacy of pain and abandonment Marilyn herself endured, offering a sense of peace through the life that the child built. But what do you think? Could Marilyn Monroe really have a secret, aged daughter out there? Or could the rumors be just that, rumors? While you're pondering on your answer, here's a family secret so shocking you'll almost think it was fiction. Here's a hint. She hates being called illegitimate and describes herself as collateral damage in her mom and dad's relationship. Number 7. Tessa Gurong. Widely regarded as one of the greatest actors of the 20th century, saying Jack Nicholson is one of the industry's most lauded individuals is a massive understatement. Throughout his 5-decade career, the retired American actor and filmmaker received numerous accolades, including 3 Academy Awards, 3 BAFTA Film Awards, 6 Golden Globe Awards, a Grammy Award, and that's not even close to the surface. He also received the American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award in 1994 and the Kennedy Center Honor in 2001, awards that even the biggest in the industry could only dream of. He won hearts for playing rebels against the social structure in many of his films, but let's just say he's not getting our Father of the Year award. When it comes to his personal life, Jack Nicholson is notorious for his inability to settle down. Despite fathering 6 children with 5 different women, he has only been married once. But here is where things get bizarre. The actor once expressed that having children adds a unique depth to life and that he's a devoted father, always present, and offering his children unwavering love and support. However, it's all lies. He has failed to acknowledge many of his children, including his youngest child, Tessa Gurong. Born on August 15, 1994, to a waiter called Janine Gurong, Nicholson completely froze her out of the picture. Tessa Gurong grew up with the understanding that her famous father wished to remain a secret. Though she was flown from New York to Los Angeles to meet him as a child, it was clear to her that he didn't want her in his life. This made her mother advise her to keep his identity hidden, and Tessa, aware of his wealth and power, likened her life to that of orphan Annie's. However, despite the lavish lifestyle, Tessa felt neglected. She shared that she had never truly connected with her father for as long as she could remember. The crazy part, though? There is no denying she is the spitting image of the shining actor. The 31-year-old is currently taking acting lessons from Tony Greco, who also taught Philip Seymour Hoffman. However, she has only secured roles in a few short films so far. Number 6. Rose and Ryan Quinn. Renowned for his versatile acting career, Anthony Quinn lived a life just as complex and colorful off-screen. He had several affairs with many of the industry's biggest names like Carole Lombard, Rita Hayworth, and Ingrid Bergman. But the one that really caught the eye was his final forbidden passion. Although Quinn had been married to his wife, Iolanda, for 29 years and raised 3 children, he was secretly having an affair with his secretary, Catherine Benvin. Heartbroken, his Italian costume designer wife filed for divorce, opening the door to Benvin, who later married the actor. They fathered a daughter, Antonia Patricia Rose Quinn, and a son, Ryan Nicholas Quinn. Despite the significant age difference between them, Quinn was 47 years her senior. The marriage turned out to be a loving and supportive union. They were inseparable and shared a deep passion for the arts. Following Quinn's death in 2001, Benvin became a steward of his legacy, founding the Anthony Quinn Foundation in 2007. There, she has been able to promote standard arts education, thus ensuring that Quinn's influence on the cultural landscape would endure beyond his film career. Before we go on to the next controversial name on our list, did you know that Anthony Quinn etched his name in the Guinness Book of Records for being the oldest film star to have fathered a child? He was 81 at the time. Not much known is about Rose Quinn, but we do know Ryan lives in Bristol, Rhode Island, United States, with his mother and sister. He plays the electric bass guitar in a rock and roll band named The First Time Around, and made his debut not long ago. Fingers crossed he excels in entertainment like his father, or in any other future venture. Moving on, here's our next Hollywood secret child. Number 5. Rebecca Wells. Born on October 17, 1918, Margarita Carmen Cancino, or should I say Rita Hayworth, was once adored as Hollywood's ultimate sex symbol. Yet her life was filled with personal struggles and heartache. She battled with a tumultuous series of marriages, episodes of degrading mental health, and the eventual diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease, which profoundly impacted her in later years. Contrary to what you might think about the actress's personal life, there were a lot of reasons to point fingers at her famed relationship with director Orson Welles as the beginning of the end. The two first crossed paths in the early 1940s, with Hayworth at the peak of her fame. She quickly fell for Welles, a man of great talent who, despite his brilliance, was also grappling with his personal demons. They had an illegitimate daughter, Rebecca Wells, during their time together, but Wells initially denied paternity. Hayworth had to raise her alone, further sinking her mental health. Hayworth later had another daughter, Princess Yasmin, with Prince Ali Khan. But, alas, the situation was marked by significant pain and suffering for everyone involved. Hayworth struggled with undiagnosed Alzheimer's for many years, and Princess Yasmin Aga Khan eventually became a leading advocate for Alzheimer's research. Here's the spooky part. Hayworth's eldest daughter had an unwed child, and some reports claim she refused to let her daughter touch the infant, who was later placed for adoption. This caused further separation and issues within the family. Hayworth's grandson eventually sought out his birth mother, as depicted in the film Prodigal Sons, but they never got to meet before she died. He also passed away shortly after. Given that Hayworth's grandson had 3 children who could possibly have had children of their own, it's fascinating to think that these descendants might be living among us, maybe even as our neighbors or co-workers. It's a curious thought, isn't it? The connections between famous families and everyday life can feel strangely close. If you've made it this far, chances are you're having a swell time, so why don't you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date whenever we release an amazing video like this. It will only take you a second, and yes, it's completely free. A win-win situation if you ask me. Already subscribed? Great! Grab a snack for this Hollywood secret child born from a forbidden passion.
But especially with acting, he's really supportive and always pushing me to work really hard and make it my own and do it on my own.
Number 4. Joseph Baena. Have you ever wondered what Arnold Schwarzenegger and Marlon Brando have in common? Aside from their legendary careers, of course. You could ponder for a decade without getting the answer because it's actually a surprising twist. Both of these iconic men had affairs with their housekeepers. And yes, they both led to heated scandals that not only shook their lives to the core, but also their families. One can say that Brando was let off the hook easily, but Schwarzenegger? His world came crashing down. It was the camel that broke his several-decade marriage to Maria Shriver. Why did he cheat? Well, no one really knows. We've never gotten a reason for it. But it's safe to say at least one of the following is true. First, it's possible that he and Maria were going through a rough patch in their marriage, perhaps even considering a separation or divorce. If so, Arnie probably sought comfort from another woman while they tried to work through their issues. The second theory is that the maid's presence provided a constant temptation that he might not have actively sought, but found hard to resist. Given their high-profile status, having an affair with someone already in the home made it easier to hide, and the opportunity was always there. In any case, Mildred welcomed her son Joseph Baena on the 2nd of October 1997, following an affair with Schwarzenegger that began in 1996. But here's the crazy part. Joseph's mother occasionally brought him to the Schwarzenegger household, where she worked for 2 decades until she retired in 2010. Arnie had no idea Joseph was his son until he got older and began to resemble him. Not relying on his father's wealthy and powerful name, Joseph Baena has built a successful career in real estate, acting, and bodybuilding. And yes, there are many indications he's doing well for himself. Joseph shared on Instagram that he obtained his real estate license in May 2021 and successfully sold his first home a year later, a milestone he proudly posted about. The average salary for a real estate agent in Los Angeles, California is approximately $100,000, so he's pretty comfortable. Number 3. Patricia Lake. Say what you will about Marion Davies Lake, but the actress gave us one of the most intriguing, controversial stories in Hollywood's history: the truth behind her niece's birth. Or should I say daughter? Yes, you heard that loud and clear. The parentage of actress Patricia Lake has long been a subject of intrigue and speculation, largely due to her connections to Hollywood mogul William Randolph Hearst and actress Marion Davies. Contrary to popular opinion that Patricia is the daughter of Rosemary Duras and George Van Cleve, rumors have persisted for years that she was the secret love child of Hearst and Marion Davies, a result of their tumultuous affair, which began in 1917 and continued despite Hearst's marriage to Millicent Wilson. What's more, the affair was allegedly kept under wraps, with Hearst even sending Davies to Europe just to avoid the scandal of a pregnancy that could become public. Believe it or not, Patricia seems to support the narrative. She claimed to be born in a Catholic hospital outside Paris between 1919 and 1923. So this means that she was handed over to Davies' sister, Rose, whose own child had tragically passed away. Happy to raise a kid of their own, Rose and her husband, George Van Cleve, adopted Lake and proudly passed her off as theirs. Adding to the intrigue is the heated rumor that the birth certificate of Rose's deceased child was altered to reflect the newborn as their daughter. That being said, the truth behind Lake's parentage still remains a Hollywood mystery. Public opinion in the 1920s leaned toward the idea that Lake was indeed the child of Davies and Hearst. Magazine Americana reported a bizarre episode in 1924 when, after the separation of Rose and George Van Cleve, George kidnapped Patricia and fled, prompting a nationwide search. Hearst detective tracked them down after 5 years, and Patricia was returned to Rose's custody. However, she was eventually returned to Van Cleve's custody following a court ruling. Despite the speculation and never-ending theories, all official documents still maintain that Lake's parents were Rose and George Van Cleve. The only thing both sides agree on is that William Randolph Hearst played a pivotal role in shaping Lake's story, even if the full details of her conception and early life remain somewhat obscured. Anyway, Lake's career took off in the late 1930s, and she spent a good part of the 1940s performing in theater. One of her most notable roles came when she replaced Penny Singleton as the voice of Blondie Bumstead on the radio sitcom Blondie. It wasn't just about acting, though. Lake's star power was officially recognized in 1940 when she earned a spot as one of the MPPA Baby Stars, a prestigious award akin to the Wampas Baby Stars from earlier decades. Number 2. Anthony Peck. Ever wondered why Gregory Peck's son, Anthony, threw away a storybook marriage and almost destroyed himself with alcohol? When your father is a screen legend with a sprawling estate in Hollywood Hills, and your wife is considered one of the most beautiful women in the world, it might seem like life would be nothing but endless joy and fulfillment. However, this wasn't the reality for Gregory Peck's youngest son, Anthony, who despite marrying supermodel Cheryl Tiegs, found himself so unhappy in the early 90s that even his glamorous marriage couldn't bring him contentment. At one point, he resembled someone still recovering from the struggles of a troubled past. Though fit and tanned, his face appeared long and gaunt, with tired eyes and deep grooves etched into his cheeks. From the outset, Tony's life was anything but easy. He was born in 1956 to Gregory Peck and a French journalist called Véronique Pisani, but his existence was largely kept away from the public eye at first. Gregory was openly married to Greta Kekkonen, so he had to maintain his carefully constructed image of a loving, stable family man. A forbidden passion in tabloids would have ensured intense media scrutiny, a pain the iconic actor did all he could to avoid. Then there was also the fear of public judgment. Back in the Golden Age, infidelity had a deeply rooted social stigma. Peck, like many Hollywood stars, had no choice but to shield his name from public judgment and scandal. He still provided for his son and even sponsored all of his needs, but he wasn't exactly present 100% of the time. Tony Peck, now an adult, has appeared in films such as Silver and Fit to Kill in 1993, but he had well-documented struggles with alcoholism, which he has openly talked about. Care to guess who's next?
My mother, Loretta Young, did Call of the Wild. Well, the first time I knew who my father was, I was 23, and I was 2 weeks away.
Number 1. Judy Lewis. A teenage Judy Lewis used to sit and watch Clark Gable's iconic movies with her friends, but little did she know that the legendary actor was, in fact, her father. Famously praised for his portrayal of Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind, Gable is easily one of the most iconic stars of Hollywood's golden age. However, his personal life was far different from the characters he portrayed. He never publicly acknowledged Judy Lewis, who is widely believed to be the child of an affair between Gable and actress Loretta Young during the filming of Call of the Wild in 1935. Despite persistent rumors about their relationship, neither Clark Gable nor Loretta Young ever publicly addressed them. The official narrative, which Young maintained until her daughter was an adult, was that she had adopted Judy Lewis when she was 19 months old. In truth, Lewis was born to Young on November 6, 1935, and Young kept the girl hidden because she was afraid that her pregnancy would damage her career. Young was a devout Catholic who believed that her affair with Clark Gable was a mortal sin, forcing her to place Lewis in an orphanage for the first 19 months of her life. Just enough time to arrange an adoption that would explain why a young unmarried lady had a child. Unsurprisingly, the truth about Lewis's parentage caused a years-long rift between the two, and it's hard to blame Lewis. Both parents rejected her when she was a baby, and her father never acknowledged her until his death. The pain Judy felt from the rejection was evident in her words later in life. She once said, "I ask myself why he didn't leave me something, even just a letter." Tragically, she never received that closure as Gable passed away before they could reconcile. Judy later went on to share the truth in her memoir Uncommon Knowledge, which gave the world a glimpse into the struggle of being kept a secret and the difficulties of growing up without the acknowledgement of her famous parents. Young refused to speak with her for 3 years after the book was published, but they were able to reconcile before Young died in the year 2000 at the age of 87. Her autobiography, published posthumously, confirmed that Gable was indeed Lewis's father. Lewis herself died of cancer at age 76 on November 25, 2011, in Gladwine, Pennsylvania, after a well and fulfilling life as an actress, producer, author, and psychotherapist. It's been an intriguing ride unpacking the hidden legacies of Hollywood's golden age, but like all stories, this one must come to a close. Which of these secret offspring shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this dive into Hollywood's hidden truths, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Want to uncover even more jaw-dropping Hollywood secrets? Check out the video currently playing on your screen.